This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Hey, it's your boy Miguel G with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I have a guest for you, folks.
Yeah, that boy. Hey, man, shout out to Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big Oos, San Jose. We gonna shut this shit down. Love and respect, all right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank you.
Oh, if you didn't know, I don't know what to tell you, but ladies and gentlemen, we are back right here on the Value Wrestling right there on YouTube with your Smackdown post-show review for February 16th. The month's almost over. That's insane. But we're here with your February 16th post-show review of Smackdown. We are now 1 week out from Elimination Chamber happening next Saturday in Perth, Australia. Everybody's time lapse is going to be screwed up because it's going to be on at all types of crazy hours. So if you're going to watch that live, depending on where you live, you're going to be watching some show. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Smackdown emanated from Salt Lake City out of the Delta Center. And what a night. First, let me introduce you to my co-host, the one, the only, Clarke. You know. Of course, you know me, it's me on the big time. And I'm going to take the charge and make this happen. Noddy. We're going to party like it's 1996. Because The Rock was on TV and we threw it back in some fashions. But we'll get into that in a little bit later. It was emanated as this was going to be a big, important show. We're going to hear from The Rock and Roman Reigns. We were going to find out what was going on with the bloodline. We were going to continue the story, the never-ending story. Who knows? But we saw the arrival of Roman. We saw the arrival of Rock. The Rock doesn't know how to park his big old truck, oddly enough. But hey, that's okay. We opened the show with a Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Kevin Owens versus Dominic Mysterio. And what a match we got here. Anyways, before the match, Dominic brags about how Judgment Day is going to dominate the Elimination Chamber and he's going to complete the sweep. Owens wastes no time in knocking him out to the floor, followed by an arm drag to put him on the floor again, back in, and Dominic gets a few shots, only to be clotheslined down to cut him off again. They head outside together this time, with Owens hitting a right hand and sending him into the steps. Out comes R-Truth to look at Owens, and Dominic takes over, including a slingshot helo for 2 as we take a break. We come back from break. Owens is fighting out of a chinlock and firing off some right hands. Owens stomps him down and hits the running back splash on the floor, followed by the cannonball back inside. I'm going to sneeze. Stand by. All right. Fog Splash gives Owens 2 that, but Dominic grabs an X Factor of all things. And interesting, they try to trade the 3 Amigos. Dominic gets 2 before Kevin reverses it, and Kevin goes for it, but then Dominic reverses it. Dominic misses with his own Frog Splash. Owen is back in with a Swanton for 2, only to get caught with a 619 for 2 more. The frustrated Dominic tells Truth to get him a chair. Truth distracts Dominic for a while and then gets a chair, but then sits down in it, which allows Owens to grab the pop-up powerbomb for a pin. This match went 14 minutes, 11 seconds. I think this was a good, solid match. I was wrong again. I thought they would give us Dominic in this match for kind of the heel comic relief, kind of the guy that would probably run up the cage and try to hide, try to avoid the fight. I just thought Dominic would be a great asset to this Elimination Chamber, but no, we're going to put Kevin Owens in, and that's fine too. Nothing wrong against that. The only thing was, I got to go back to AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. We opened with Jon Moxley and Dax Harwood, which I like Moxley for what he is. I love Dax Harwood at FTR, but watching that match, I just couldn't get into it. And the only thing is, I'm like, okay, as long as Moxley don't bleed, then I think we're in an okay match. But it was just, I couldn't get invested in it because, what is this leading to? Oh, it's a tag team match. Whoopee. At least here, I'm watching this opening match and I'm excited because Kevin Owens has something going on. Dominic has something going on. You really don't know who's going to win this match. You know, you get Kevin Owens winning. You got a good, solid match. Both guys look good. And it's just, this is what seems to be missing from AEW that we're seeing on SmackDown. AEW, yes, they give us a match, but they don't really give us anything other than, if you're watching every show, yes, there's a little bit of a storyline that, the Blackpool Combat Club and FTR are going to have a feud, and all it is a tag match to stack their decks, but it doesn't seem as important as the match we got tonight. So, you know, it was a lot more exciting to watch both of these guys go at it. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on this opening match?
That was a good, solid match. Like you, I thought Dominic was going to go over just because I would like it for giggles. We'll try to keep it PC. But I have no problem with Kevin Owens going over. Love Kevin Owens. I guess they want as much of an all-star cast for the men's elimination chamber as they can. I'm assuming that's kind of why Kevin Owens went over.
Yes.
So
they stacked
we'll see how they go with it.
They stacked the elimination chamber, so I mean you got to be happy with that. So it's going to be interesting. Anyways, from there we have Drew McIntyre. He is here. Says he has to win the elimination chamber to go on and win the world heavyweight title at WrestleMania. LA Knight comes in to say, "Not so fast," and is ready to add McIntyre's name to the WrestleMania tombstone on his shirt. Things have to be broken up in a hurry, and of course, okay, we saw the Bloodline arrive after this, but anyways, we're in the bag with Tyra Bate and Pete Dunne. They are ready to win the tag team titles, but Bate thinks they need a new tag team name. I thought they were just British Strong Style, but no. Dominic Mysterio comes in to say that Judgment Day will beat them at the Elimination Chamber, so Bate says they can beat Dominic and R-Truth next week. Dominic says there is no truth. Truth is not a part of Judgment Day. So I guess we're going to get Dominic and JD McDonough, which would be announced later. But they played around with that. And I forget what what Tyra Bates said their tag team name was going to be, or suggested their tag team name was going to be. They didn't post it in the notes here, but they did have some name for him, but I forget what it was.
It was something real corny anyways.
I maybe it was. I didn't catch it. So I just thought British Strong Style would be a perfect name for these two guys. Mm-hmm. But it is what it is. From there, we got the next elimination qualifier match. This was the women's qualifier match. We had Zelina Vega taking on Tiffany Stratton. I'm sure one Malachi Black and one Ludwig Kaiser were definitely watching this match very closely. And if you don't know, well, hey, go Google it. Anyways, Vega snaps off her Hurricanrana to start before kicking Stratton out to the floor. An arm drag off the apron, step up a middle rope moonsault to Stratton. To Legado del Fasmo sitting at ringside with Elektra to give a distraction to Vega. We go to break. After we come back from break, Vega is fighting out of a chinlock, and the LWO coming out to even things up. Stratton cuts off a comeback attempt with an Alabama slam, but Vega cuts off the prettiest moonsault ever. They head outside where Vega is rammed into the barricade where Legado's Electric Lopez offers a distraction. That's enough for Stratton to deck Vega and hit the prettiest moonsault ever in the ring. This match went 8 minutes, 19 seconds. This was a good match for what they do here. Selena looked good. Tiffany Stratton, they're trying to make her shine. Tiffany Stratton is moving on into the Women's Elimination Chamber. I can't be upset about that. We can see what Tiffany Stratton brings to the big picture. At least they're trying to get her up into the echelon where she feels important, which I think is good. She won't win the Elimination Chamber, but at least she's there, no. And we're going to get to see what she's able to do. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
Kind of is what it is. I'm actually glad to see Zelina Vega get more screen time in ring.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely representing that LWO. Definitely representing her flag. I'm really starting to like her entrances with whatever she decides to do with her entrances. Whether it be at a PLE, whether it be here on TV. I think it just adds something a little bit different than what a lot of other women do. Or all other people do, period. Don't matter, men or women. Tiffany Stratton, love what she's doing. It was a good TV match, I guess, is what it is to me. Like, it's not the full extent of what Tiffany can do, but then again, you wouldn't expect that necessarily in a TV match either. So, and she's also just, getting onto the main roster. So,
yes,
I guess give her some time to really get a feel if you haven't been watching her in NXT.
Okay, Miguel Z says the new tag team name, or what was suggested for by Tyra Bate for their team was New Catch Republic. I don't know.
That's right.
What that means. So we'll see how that goes.
Like I said, to me it felt cheesy.
I'm sure there's a reason, and until we understand the reason why they said that, we'll have to wait and see. Something bugging you, Cat. I guess you found something that's entertaining you. Anyways, we're back in the locker room where OC comes in to see AJ Styles. Carl and AJ Styles get into each other's face. AJ winds up slapping Carl Anderson, and they had to get held apart. So I don't know where they're going with the OC. Of course, the OC has been recently in NXT. They are going to be on the next edition of NXT, I believe, and confronting the tag team champions down there. So the OC, that's already been recorded. It's already been reported. There's some rumors that a certain somebody that may be an old friend of the OC may be showing up on NXT, and this is a setup to align them with a new face in WWE, but an old face from way back in the day when they were probably more familiar with the beginning times of when Finn Balor and what they started in New Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot of rumors and speculation around that name that may be coming to WWE and possibly getting to NXT. Maybe be in line with the OC. We'll have to wait and see if that has any ring to it, even though this person may be better fitted for a whole different faction in the WWE right now. Okay. Chill, please. I know. And then we get Damage Control is coming for Bayley at WrestleMania, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. We got AOP in a tag team match against two jobbers, Javier Bernal and Bo Morris. And the rest of the Final Testament is here too. Akam throws Bernal down to start, and everything breaks down with the Super Collider stereo power bombs. Setting up for a powerbomb neckbreaker combination. This match was a 1 minute, 2 second match. Total destruction, which we wanted and expect from a returning AOP. AOP needs to be set up like this again. Luckily, this isn't like as bad as maybe trying to reset Wardlow. Luckily, AOP has been gone long enough that we can kind of forget and buy into them being reset this way. So, yes, them going out and squashing jobbers is fine for right now. It's what they need to do because they need to look like the AOP that we want, the AOP that should be this vicious, unstoppable force of Akam and Razor. Of course, I guess good old, come on, what's his name? Paul Ellering is still living in the 80s with his Michael Jackson one glove hand thing there. I don't know, but hey, good for these guys. It's what we needed. You know, AOP needs to be built this way. Mr. Clarke.
It's exactly what AOP, like you said, what AOP needed. Javier Bernal, so both of these guys are from NXT. Both these guys, Javier Bernal, I'm a little more familiar with. He's been kind of used as a job in NXT as well, but he's also had segments where he's a little more entertaining. But obviously he didn't get to get on the mic tonight, so you want to know that. But well, it was good for what it was supposed to be.
Yes. Miguel, if you don't follow the news, I'm not talking about a prince. They're not getting a prince. I'm talking about people that were associated when the prince ruled the group that they were associated with. So yes, Guerrilla Warfare would probably be a little more closer to the person that I'm kind of referring, though I don't really want to say because there's not any factual. It's just speculation, rumors.
Yeah, even though everyone's speculating on that, though.
Especially since this person would probably be better aligned with the bloodline, honestly. Especially if we're going to have a bloodline civil war, they need to bring in a couple of guys to help fill that out. And there's two major players out there right now that seem to be free agents. One is highly speculated to show up more than the other, but we will see how that all plays out. Well, I guess, you know what, let's get into it. We know Jacob Fatu was mentioned in the charter, the bloodline. So it does look like Jacob Fatu is closer to making a deal with WWE since they are acknowledging him. The other one being, yes, Tama Tonga. He is free, and there's a lot of chatter that he may show up, but it's more that he may show up in NXT and align with the OC for whatever reason, more than the bloodline. And maybe they'll start him there to get him kind of adjusted to the WWE style before they bring him up into the bloodline. We have to see, but it definitely looks like AEW or WWE may have missed out on Mercedes Moné. They may have missed out on Okada, which is fine and dandy. But it does look like they're focused on maybe picking up names like Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga and more of those associates. So again, that's all grain of salt. That's all chitter chatter in the interwebs between all the bigwigs that say they know what they know, and it's like the same bigwigs that say it's a work and it's the other side says it's a shoot, and you're sitting here going, "Do we care anymore? Does it really matter if it's a work or
Right.
shoot?" I mean, at the end of the day, they got it right. Everybody should be happy. Let's let the storyline play out. Screw if it was a work or a shoot anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Enjoy the show.
I know.
Damn it.
I'm so over at the work, at the shoot, at the work. I mean, I'm like, yeah, you got the two biggest bigwigs fighting with one another, trying to, show off. No, I have the inside skip. No, I have an. And it's like, who cares? Who cares now? Where we are is what's important, not where we were.
Mhm.
Anyways, Logan Paul is ready to beat The Miz and win the Elimination Chamber and become a double champion at WrestleMania. We look back at the segment of Rollins and Cody Rhodes from Raw, where Rollins promised to be this shield for one Cody Rhodes. We'll have to see how that plays out. Especially since the other news and rumors, since everybody thinks The Rock's going to turn on Roman at WrestleMania. And I'm just like, it doesn't make sense for the story for him to turn that soon. But okay, whatever. We'll get there at some point. Anyways, the final Elimination Chamber match for the men's, The Miz versus Logan Paul, took place. And we have a non-title match, of course. Paul talks trash to start and is promptly knocked down for his efforts. Miz sends him to the apron where Paul comes back in with a high crossbody. The standing moonsault doesn't quite connect, but Paul grabs a regal roll to put Miz down again. A splash gives Paul two, but Miz fires off the chops. Paul knocks him right back down and hits a splash on the apron as we go to break. We come back from break with Miz slugging away and grabbing a downward spiral for two, followed by a code breaker out of the corner for the same. Miz tries for the finger four, but Paul grabs the ring skirt, leaving the referee distracted. That's enough for Paul to poke Miz in the eyes and hit a skull-crushing finale for a rather near fall. Meaning Paul is getting frustrated at this point. His figure four sends Paul over the ropes and to the floor where he goes to one of his goons who hands him the brass knucks. Miz breaks that up, but Paul kicks the ropes for a low blow. On the way back in, the big right hand sets up something like an STO. Give Paul the pin. Where did you get the... Okay, whoever wrote these notes, you're ignorant, because it wasn't STO. They told you exactly what it was. It was a reverse skull-crushing finale. I don't know where you got the STO. He did a... I think they called it a Paul finale or crushing Paul finale. It's basically a skull-crushing finale in reverse. So instead of going face first, he went head first, and that's where he goes. I don't know where you get the STO in that. He didn't do this. He went down with him. So anyways, that match went 12 minutes, 40 seconds. A good solid match between The Miz and Logan Paul. This kind of continues their storyline. These two are probably going to be long-time feuds. We'll probably hear about their history of their feud as their career develops. Mm-hmm. Miz, I'm sure, doesn't have a long time to go. Depends on how long Logan Paul wants to be around. But Logan Paul, one of his biggest feuds is probably going to be The Miz throughout the years. They're always going to have cross paths. And, of course, it was pretty simple to know that Logan Paul was probably going to win this match because Logan Paul is going to be the quote-unquote spot monkey for the Elimination Chamber. He is going to do the big spot in the cage. And so that was pretty easy to see. But it was a good, solid match between the two. You got to love Miz and Logan Paul. They work really well together. Mr. Clarke.
I don't know how to add on to what you just said. I agree with everything you just said.
Yeah.
Lord. I guess the only question is, how is Logan Paul, for as much as I don't give a hoot about what he does outside WWE, how is he so good for what he does inside WWE? He has no right to be as good as he is.
There's been a few celebrities that have come into the professional wrestling. Well, there's been quite a few now that have come into the professional wrestling. There's only been a handful that really stepped up and reached that mark. And Logan Paul, Bad Bunny are probably two of the names that have come into wrestling and taken it as serious as they have to really learn this craft and apply themselves, not just to be celebrities that are here, but to be celebrities that are actually taking it seriously. And it's nice to see, you got to get, whether you like Logan Paul or not, whether you like what Logan Paul, Jacob, his brother, do outside the ring, whether you like how Logan Paul got to where he is today, whether you like what he did on YouTube or does on YouTube, it really doesn't matter because you have to respect what he's done to be the talent he is in wrestling, not to even grow up in wrestling, not to be, not to be in the, he worked more on his physique as he was in the boxing and he got into wrestling. And the fact that he's trained and worked so hard to get better and better along the way, that he's a talent and carrying a title that you're not really mad at him carrying the U.S. title, You may not like it as you may not like it as a fan because he's a heel. You don't want to see him with the title, but you still have to respect that he's done everything to kind of earn that title. And you go, you know what? He's earned it. He really has earned that spot. Anyways, we were backstage. Triffy in an office with Nick Aldis. He has Jade Cargill there, Braun Breaker. It looks like he's trying to get them to sign their contracts. Tiffany Stratton breaks in because Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair are standing there, and she talks about how she's going to beat all of them. Jade Cargill comes in to tell them all to shut up. Nick Aldis pops in, and we pan over to Braun Breaker and his contract. I don't think Jade Cargill signed anything. It looks like Braun Breaker may have, but we'll get more information on that. This is a weird scene with the weirdest people in the room, but it was what it was. Then we go see Paul Heyman. Hogan, Paul, and Bad Bunny have looked very good. They took the time to learn how to work. Yes, they have, Mr. Z. Paul Heyman was talking to Grayson Waller because we know to Perth, Australia, we're going to have a Grayson Waller effect with one Cody Rhodes. So we'll probably get some type of continuance of storyline at Elimination Chamber with Cody Rhodes, Grayson Waller. Paul Heyman will probably be there. Roman Reigns isn't supposed to be there, but he may show up for this. Who knows? Maybe The Rock will show up for this. To give Australia that moment with The Rock, because Australia's asked for The Rock, so maybe we'll get some confrontation here to continue the story. We'll have to wait and see. And now we're at one more match to go, and it felt quite early, but we forgot the ending of the show was going to be a big moment, but we got our last match tonight, the final match for the women's, other than the Battle Royal that's going to take place on Monday to fill in the last spot. So tonight we got Naomi returning to action for the first time since the Royal Rumble and returning to WWE against Alba Fire. Isla Dawn is here with Fire, who takes Naomi down into the corner to start. Naomi slides up and slaps her in the face, setting up a split splash for two. Say that 5 times fast. They go outside with Naomi hitting a bulldog onto the steps as we take a break. When we come back from break, Naomi is sending her into the corner, hitting a high crossbody for 2. Fire is able to send her into the buckle through a wheelbarrow faceplant, gives Fry 2 of her own. The gory bomb is countered though, and an interfering Dawn is kicked down. A head scissors driver sets up a reverse Ring of Saturn, finishing Fry at 9 minutes 20 seconds. She taps out to Naomi. Naomi looking excellent in this match. She's got a different ring song. Got a new updated song, which was nice. Still the same style, still feel the glow. It was good to see Naomi shine here, which was pretty easy to tell that Naomi was going to win this. Can't wait to see what she's going to be able to do in the Elimination Chamber with Becky Lynch, with Bianca Belair, with Liv Morgan, and now Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. Those are the 5 women who are already in the Elimination Chamber. We know on Monday they're going to have a women's second chance battle royal. Still up in the air. I believe everybody who's lost will definitely be in there. I don't know if anybody else will be in there. It does look like Jade Cargill was supposed to be in that, but is being pulled out of that. Doesn't look like she'll be going to Elimination Chamber like a lot of speculation was leading to it, which is fine. I think Jade Cargill still has some growth to do. She'd probably be okay in Elimination Chamber, but then again, if you put her in that type of match, you really have to keep her looking strong. And that may have been the thing. They didn't know how to keep her strong, and I don't know if you want her to lose anything right now. I don't know if you want to see her with her shoulders to the mat, even if it's an Elimination Chamber. There's sex with other women. I get it, but the optics of Jade Cargill not having that first match to really establish herself, she looked good in the Rumble. WWE needs to hold on to her just a little bit longer. I think her run should start after WrestleMania. I think that'll be the perfect time to really launch her and start building her into the future of professional wrestling. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on this Elimination Chamber match between Alba Fire and Naomi?
I think, like you said, we pretty much knew who was going to go over. And as much as I think Elimination Chamber, is particularly the Women's Elimination Chamber match is going to be good, I was I'm actually just as interested in seeing what they do with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn going forward, if they
Mhm.
start putting them on TV more and to actually start building that women's tag team, division more.
Yep.
Because like I like Alba Fire. I've formerly known as Kaylee Ray. I've followed her on the independents here and there through YouTube clips and things of that nature, and got to see her a little bit in NXT. Now I want to see what can they do with them, meaning Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, on the main roster.
Yep.
Because they have the tools, they have the looks, they got everything you would want in a professional wrestler for WWE. So let's use them now.
Exactly. Anyways, we're backstage. We see Bayley. Up comes Dakota Kai. She's begging Bayley for protection because of what the damage control is. Basically, Bayley basically blew her off. Like, I can't trust anything. This little segment here sucked. Dakota Kai just was not good. I mean, she didn't come off as believable that she was really trying to get Bayley's head. It just came off bad. It was just like you just couldn't buy into Dakota Kai. She wasn't getting any reason to be sympathetic towards her. You're just kind of like, yeah, you're just trying to screw over Bayley, and that's bad when you could already feel it, and that doesn't work in favor for the storyline. So I don't know what they're gonna do here, but Dakota Kai didn't really bring anything. She didn't feel sympathetic, like, oh, they're after me, they hate me, they don't want me either, they're gonna help me, Bayley. Like, there was not enough there that you really bought into her, like, even trying to convince Bayley. She couldn't even convince me that she was even in that much danger. It's just kind of like, yeah, you're going to screw Bayley. And sadly, that really hurts the storyline because you kind of need Dakota Kai to be believable as an ally to Bayley. So when she does turn on her, it's a bigger impact. If you overly expect it, if it's all, if you got that paint by the number, you see it coming, it's a little worse. I'd rather at least see them mend this where you're actually believing Dakota Kai is truly remorseful and trying to really align herself with Bayley, bring me into the story. But tonight was, I don't know. What were your thoughts of this little segment? Because it just left a bad taste in my mouth. I'd love Dakota Kai and Bayley. It's nothing against them. This segment just didn't sell what they were trying to sell.
Well, see, the problem is the week before when she attempted to save Bayley, those chair shots towards damage control. I'm like, I didn't believe those. Yeah. So coming into this segment, like you're just continuing the disbelief.
It just felt really flat, unfortunately. I know they're trying to tell a story and trying to get us there, but I couldn't get into it, sadly. And that hurts it. I really feel like it hurts it. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't feel like Dakota Kai was really selling that. I'm sorry, I don't want to be aligned with them, I get Bayley being defensive and guarded, and that's fine, but Dakota Kai's got to come off better where she's got to find that way to convince Bayley to trust her. Hopefully they'll figure that out. Even though we know Dakota Kai's going to turn on her, I still want to see that there's a little believability. Like, get me to doubt myself just a little bit, Like, just make me go maybe, right. For a second. Even if you get that's the key.
Damage.
Go ahead.
Damage control would have to attack Dakota, or at least imply an attack for it to even start to make sense. And that's where they've gone wrong. It's like the little segment that Damage Control had when they talked about Bayley said nothing about Dakota Kai.
Yeah. No, I know. They're. Hopefully they'll patch this up. We got some time till WrestleMania. Maybe something will happen at Elimination Chamber. We got plenty of shows between here and there to kind of do something to maybe make this feel better. Maybe we'll get that Dakota Kai attack, but Dakota Kai has to become that sympathetic character that we buy into, that Bayley buys into. Tonight, it totally missed it. This wasn't the segment you needed. I get they're trying to continue the storyline, but it just missed. Next out, we had Nick Aldis, and here they announced the newest member to the SmackDown roster, Braun Breaker, who was a free agent. I thought he was in NXT because isn't he not one half of the NXT Tag Team Champions? I think that changes next week when the OC show up and a bunch of that stuff goes down. But right now, as I understand, Braun Breaker and the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin, are the Tag Team Champions after winning the Dusty Rhodes final. But now Braun Breaker is officially on SmackDown, so his time in NXT is probably coming to an end. What are they going to do with Baron Corbin now that his newest friend is no longer there? We're going to have to wait and see. Here's what's coming on next week's show. And then we go into, here's the bloodline for the big chat. Hey, Guy, how can you say here's what's coming for next week's show and not write all that down? Why? Why would you say that? Well, here's what's coming, but you're not giving me anything for next week. Wow. Missed it by a mile. We know that JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio are taking on British Strong Style next week. That's one of the matches I remember. I don't remember what else is going on for next week, but next week looks halfway decent.
We're getting the Soup Profits and the Authors of Pain.
There you go.
Braun Breaker will make his SmackDown debut, plus LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre.
Cool beans. Now, if you watch SmackDown, great. If you watch that other show that was on the night, that was a total shit show. You got to see a 12-man tag team, and if I would have told you, if I would have sat here 2 years ago and told you one day Jay White will be tagging with Billy Gunn to take on Jeff Jarrett, I think everybody would have called me liars. I think there would have been like an outrage, and people would have been like, "You don't know what you're talking about. That's never going to happen." But sadly, that happened.
At least it didn't happen in a New Japan ring.
Yes, I know. And I'm going to take my credit because I think I've deserved it, because when we were talking about Jeff Hardy taking on Sammy Guevara, and I said one of two things are going to happen. Somebody's going to get injured or somebody's going to die. And, well, Sammy Guevara wound up breaking Jeff Hardy's nose by doing a horrible shooting stars press and landing his knees on the face of Jeff Hardy. And so Jeff Hardy got hurt, got his nose broken. It's not a good thing when somebody can predict that, oh, these two are going to get in the ring, somebody's going to get hurt, or somebody's going to die. And I blame you, Tony. You're the big dog. You're the boss. You're in control. And you put these two men in the ring with the way they like to do stupid stuff. And, yeah. And we don't know. There's a lot of stories out there. Matt Hardy seemed pretty pissed after the match. I don't know if this is all storyline to play into something else or what. Of course, if the Hardys are mad at Sammy Guevara, that worries me, because I really don't want to see the Hardys and Jericho and Guevara and all them tied up, because that'll just be, oh, God. And Chris Jericho being reported as still being the highest paid wrestler in AEW.
Why at this point?
You have to ask one Tony Khan about that.
No, thank you.
We'll
I wash my hands clean.
We'll see after Big Business if somebody else is getting paid more than Jericho. I don't know. Maybe Jericho has one of those Nash Hall contracts from WCW back.
Oh, Lord.
Who knows? Anyways, back to SmackDown. I just had to take my credit because I said that on air, that you put Jeff Hardy and Sammy Guevara in the ring, somebody's gonna get hurt or somebody's gonna die. And lo and behold, even before the show hit the air, that broke, because of course, Rampage is recorded after Dynamite, and so yeah, on the same night I was talking about, the same time we were probably talking about it, it was going down.
When it happened.
Ay. Anyways, the Bloodline's out here for a big chat. Roman Reigns says his catchphrase. He calls the fans in Salt Lake City idiots who don't get how big this is. It's the biggest night ever in WWE, because tonight The Rock becomes officially a part of the Bloodline, which cues The Rock. He comes out to his normal music. The Hollywood is strong with this one. He comes out, and what people are saying, a Gucci vest, I believe it was. He came out in a very vest, jacket, I don't know, elegant. I mean, over the top. It fits the character. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
The only thing that I was interested in and noticed real quickly was they used the normal Rock music. They didn't even go back and get Rock's. When Rock played the Hollywood character the first time, where he was the heel, especially against Goldberg, they changed his music, but it was a little bit slower. It had a little more. They didn't even switch up. Like, I really would have thought they would have gone back to that Hollywood Rock, a little bit of that slower pace to the music beat. But nope, we just got the normal Rock music. The Rock comes out. We go to break in the middle of him walking down the ring, which was very interesting. We come back as this last 3 seconds of his entrance music plays, and The Rock gets on the mic, and the first thing we get is, oh yeah, okay, we got something to celebrate. The fans in attendance tonight have broken the all-time indoor attendance record for Salt Lake City and the whole state of Utah. Congratulations. And you're kind of very confused in this moment, because he's like being the baby face, and then he turns this superhero going, yes, you set the record for the largest collection of trailer park trash you've ever seen. And yeah, The Rock loads up finally, and the people's lives have meaning, and they all have a story to tell, and their 50 wives. He just hits the Utah crowd with every cheap low blow that he could go with out there. These people have brought out this side of the Rock. You pooped it all away and flushed it down the toilet. He went off about the Cody crybabies, how they did all this. That you had the biggest WrestleMania, but you flushed it all away for Cody. And then they talked about what is Cody's story. He lost last year. He doesn't want a rematch. And then he applies that to any sport. The 49ers went out there and lost to the Kansas City Swifties on Sunday in the Super Bowl. The Swifties dominated the Niners. Of course, I don't know. There's a couple of funky plays. And there's one where Nick Bosa was getting majorly held. That didn't get called. There's a whole scene where there was a 1st and 10. They moved the ball 3 yards. You got another 1st and 10. I don't know. Some shady stuff there. I think a lot of Niners fans wouldn't be happy. But anyways, the whole point The Rock was making was the Niners lost. But they didn't say, hey, we want a rematch. We got to finish our story too. They took it as man and left. He talked about Michael Jordan crushing the Utah Jazz, and the Utah Jazz didn't cry about it. They moved on. He talks about the Bloodline storyline just beginning, but the people here do not get it. He starts to go into his segment and goes, no, you don't get to sing along with The Rock anymore. He hits his things. And yeah, this cements Rock's heel turn. He is now officially a part of the Bloodline. He goes, if you can smell what the Bloodline is cooking. And as the music hits, they all do their one finger up, except The Rock doesn't just do one finger up. He does a one finger, and he does it like this, or everybody else is like, this. The Rock's doing this. So I don't know if there's any significance to that, or The Rock was just, he can't, whatever. I don't know if there's significance to it. I don't know. So don't, take it with a grain of salt. All I know was I did notice he was doing this. Everybody else was doing this. So I don't know if he just wasn't thinking about it or if there's going to be significance in something like that later.
I won't be surprised whether there was or wasn't tonight. I won't be surprised if it becomes a thing down the line.
But honestly, this was probably the most, this was a good show overall, but we got to this end and it was just flat. It was really disappointing. We got the typical Rock and all his cheap pops, his low blow of attacking the crowd. It felt very 1996 Rock. It didn't even feel like good Hollywood Rock. He didn't feel intensity like what we got at the kickoff show where he was pissed off about his family and he was intense and he was angry. We didn't get that Rock, and that's really weird. We didn't get anything to continue the storyline. All we got was The Rock's going to make sure Cody doesn't win. He's going to do everything in his power. So there's a little bit that The Rock's going to abuse his power, obviously, in some form or fashion, but we really didn't get enough to sink our teeth into. They didn't really give us anything to come back for Monday to see what Cody's going to say. They didn't really give us anything to come back for next SmackDown to figure out how that's going to play out. They didn't really give us anything to, even for Elimination Chamber. They did. The Rock did his catchphrase. He's a part of the Bloodline. And there was nothing left to, it was kind of like that was the end. We got a dessert. They said, good night, pay your bill, and get out. It didn't work. It's sad. And Rocky even got a brief Rocky chant after all this stuff, but it was like old school Rock. It was okay, but you're kind of like, I don't know, for me, I was like, we've been here, we've done this. Come on, you need to bring something, especially since the kickoff. He was so intense, and it was about family and bloodline, and The Rock slapped Cody, and like, I'm going to do this. Like, The Rock was a whole, like, his intensity at that time was higher than we got tonight. Tonight was just kind of Rock using a whole bunch of pop gimmicks and lines that were just zing, zing, and you're just kind of like, this is what? I'm like, he didn't feel angry, he didn't feel pissed off. It sucked, honestly. It was very disappointing for everything we'd gotten up to this point. I feel they dropped the ball here. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
I don't even know where to go because I was expecting so much more. I mean, I understand we still got many shows between now and WrestleMania that you want to do things at an incremental pace, if you will, but you got to do something, and this progressed nothing. No. And that's, I think, where my biggest disappointment is.
They
I feel so deflated.
Yeah, they dropped the ball. I don't know if this is the whole group that's been working on this. If this was just The Rock was like, I'm going to go out there and do my thing, and The Rock fell flat. The Rock didn't feel like, I don't know. He felt like he had mic rust, if I can say anything. Like he just kind of, when he hit his deliveries, he kind of like, he had a little bit of like tripping over himself. Like he didn't have his rhythm in place that he normally does. The Rock has a rhythm where he's very,
Mm-hmm.
and tonight it was just kind of like he wasn't in that rhythm. It just didn't bring the intensity that I think we were all set to come. This was supposed to be huge. We felt he was going to say something towards Cody. He never really. He talked about the Cody crybabies and said he's going to make sure Cody doesn't win, but it didn't feel like there was enough there to, they didn't pass the ball back to Cody in any way. He didn't have any mention of what's, Triple H, this is your fault. So, I mean, it's like there was so many areas we were waiting to cover. We've been waiting all week for this moment, and it just was like,
Because the way they sold it before for this coming up edition of SmackDown, Heyman, Roman Reigns, and The Rock. Like, you expected some kind of promo greatness.
Yeah,
and it just didn't come.
We were going in for a nice, juicy tri-tip at dinner, right? And then they came out and go, we don't have any of that left, but we'll give you a hamburger steak. Just kind of like, what? So, I mean, you might have been going for a Wagyu burger, but you got 50-50 loose beef sandwich meat, You wanted, you wanted that big fat bacon burger, and you got leftover manwich sandwich from, high school cafeterias back in the day. It just, it just wasn't there, and it was sad, and it just kind of aggravated me because it just, I don't know if you can say it's our fault. Did we build our expectations for our own selves up so high? And I can't say that it's us, because I think the WWE set us to get on that path of setting our expectations high. And of course, it's The Rock. So I think The Rock's even set us up, because it's The Rock. You're thinking, okay, The Rock should really be bringing it at a whole different level in this era. And he just didn't. It just felt cheap Rock. It felt 96 Rocks. But he didn't have his timing, his rhythm. The Rock usually is just like bam, bam. He hits those and things. You're just like, yeah. And I just think he missed it all the way through. So it's just,
I mean, to put a silver lining under it, I guess we can say, like I said, we've got shows in between. He can get better at it again, get his sharpness back.
Yeah.
But for tonight, man.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to see. We have all next week. We have two more shows before we go into Elimination Chamber. So we got the go home shows next week. We go into Elimination Chamber. That'll be a big deal, and then we're really gonna be picking up the pace on the road to WrestleMania. So it's gonna be very interesting. Hopefully they turn up the heat and get this really on par for the pace. I've got to kind of know what we're doing here, and I still believe we have to have some type of stipulation match. You have a quote-unquote authority figure in The Rock. I mean, he's a member of the board, so he's threatening with his power, at least in storyline, that he has power. So, I mean, I'm expecting something as a loophole, plus the fact I really believe this match needs a stipulation. We saw Cody versus Roman last year in a one-on-one, head-to-head match, and I'm like, this year you need to up that level. It needs to hit that next level of intensity. I'm still a big component for the Elimination Chamber. It makes the most sense for me. But both these men in Elimination Chamber, it keeps quote unquote in the idea, in the theory. I know that it's not always a true factual, but in theory, in the concept, the Hell in a Cell should keep out the rest of the bloodline. And that doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but that should be the ideology. That should be the idea. That, the Hell in a Cell, nobody can get in the Hell in a Cell. So it'll be a one-on-one. And then I think The Rock putting himself as the special guest referee. I don't think we need Rock versus Triple H at WrestleMania. I know we've heard these rumors forever. I don't think Triple H is cleared. I've heard he has a pacemaker. I'm not sure if he has a pacemaker. I've not found anything that solidifies that, but I know people made that statement. I know he had a heart condition, but I don't know if it was that severe. But I do not believe he is capable of wrestling ever again. I believe he is retired because of that heart condition. Like, he can't get in the ring because it could be detrimental to his well-being, his physical well-being. I don't think you need Cody and The Rock, or Roman and The Rock versus Cody and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania Night 1. You already have, now we know Seth Rollins is going to face the winner of the Elimination Chamber for the world title. So, and we know Seth Rollins is hurt, so I don't get why you would have Seth Rollins risk wrestling two matches, either in one night, and one match, and the other night, the other match, and possibly, spark up something with that. One match, he might be okay because you can do several things with one match. With Drew.
Smoke and mirror, so to speak.
Yes. So that's there. So I don't think Rock is going to wrestle at WrestleMania. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, Rock's got to wrestle." I'm like, I don't think so. I think you put him in as a special guest referee.
He's got to be there, maybe, but he doesn't have to wrestle.
No, I think if he's a special guest or referee for the Roman Cody match, this is his ultimate way to being like, I'm going to try and screw Cody. And again, I think you bring somebody to thwart in The Rock, and I think this is where you can do something with Austin. Austin wants in. Austin's asking for a match with CM Punk. He's saying he can still go with CM Punk. Unfortunately, CM Punk's injured, so we're not going to get that. But why not have Austin come out and thwart The Rock? I mean, Cody did say he called other people. He had many conversations. So, I mean, I think there's still an open storyline. I think Austin would be a great... You're talking about WrestleMania 40, so yeah, you need to make this feel like WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 20, WrestleMania 30. There's got to be a little extra to it than some of the other WrestleManias, and I think, you had Austin there last year. Why not have Austin come out and be the thing that stops The Rock from screwing Cody, and Cody can be like, oh yeah, I had another friend to help me. Now, you have Rock and Austin face off in some form. Do you have a tag match with Roman Rock, Cody, Austin at SummerSlam? So you can kind of protect Austin and The Rock where they don't really need to be the main centers of that match. So I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but it's going to be interesting what we're going to see going forward. I know a lot of people think Rock is going to turn on Roman right after WrestleMania or at WrestleMania, and I'm like, I don't know if that's the best way to go about it. I know the Bloodline Civil War, yes, that sounds like a good idea, but we really can't get there unless WWE is going to bring in some more of the family. And so until we know there's more of the family, it's kind of hard to really have a civil war. Jey Uso's off by himself doing his own thing. So unless you turn Roman babyface and Jay's going to go help save Roman and make peace, you're kind of down to Solo and Jimmy and, a two-man Bloodline Civil War or a four-man altogether. It really doesn't, do it. Like, you have to have other pieces.
That's a tag match, not a war.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, I don't think he's going to turn on him at WrestleMania. I think you build that storyline. Of course, Roman, The Rock can be more dominant in his physique. Like, oh, you lost the title, so you're not, really, I'm the head of the table. You can start that, grinding that little feud there. So when that explosion happens, but it's just crazy to hear people just all like, oh, Roman's going to turn on Roman at WrestleMania. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'm just like, I don't know if that's the story. I just don't feel that's the story. And you may agree, you may disagree, and you're always welcome to drop your comments in the video below. If you're watching this later, go ahead and make your opinion heard. We're perfectly fine with that. If you think our shows suck, you can tell us they suck. Tell us why they suck. So we know what to possibly improve on. Just telling us that our reviews suck are kind of like, okay, what can I really do with that feedback?
And if you're going to be one of those people who just says, we suck and that's it, let's see you do better.
Let's
suck.
See,
you have the cojones.
You suck. Triple H is not Tony Khan. He's not going to shotgun storyline. Well, no. Well, Tony Khan doesn't know how to book a storyline. That's the difference. Tony Khan doesn't book for storyline. He books for booking purposes. Look.
Books matches.
Yeah, tonight it's been their big highlight tonight was it's been 40 years since a Road tagged up with the Von Erichs, and so they had Dustin Rhodes tag up with the two Von Erichs to take on three jobbers, and one of the guys' name was like Hit, Hitt. Now Tony Khan can't even build the guys up that he has in his ring. Again, let's look at it's been reported that CMLL has made an agreement with AEW, but CML has also made an agreement with Tony Khan, and Tony Khan agreed to this. That is, if CMLL guys are on AEW TV, then no other other Mexican wrestlers or Lucha Libre wrestlers can be used on that same TV show.
Then we have another podcaster that says that he talked to someone in AEW and said that was absolutely false. So now we have reporters who have different opposing views.
The story I'm saying came from Fightful, at least. So I don't know.
Well, ironically, it was Sean Ross Sapp who said that it was false.
Huh. Maybe it was Meltzer. So I don't know. Again, you have these two guys at the top that are always saying these two different things, and I'm just like, okay. Anywho, I don't know if it's true, but it's again my point going back to who are these CMLL guys? So, I mean, unless you're a fan of CMLL and watch this and really know who these guys are, the diehard fans, and I think it was Bischoff or Conrad or one of these guys would say, the people in the arena might know who these guys are, but the common people at home don't know who these people are. And if you don't give us any story or package or background, it's the same for the New Japan Pro Wrestling guys. Mm-hmm. If we don't know who these guys are, then what's it matter? And then you bring them into AEW and they fall flat. And it's getting really scary because big business is coming up. And you look at it, you're going Mercedes Moné, Okada, Will Ospreay. And I know if you're a diehard New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, you're probably getting ready to cry really hard because you're just like,
Jeez.
I mean, look at Safety Scissors Jay White. I mean, that's the highest fall from grace.
Oh.
I don't mean that in ill disrespect. If this ever gets back to Jay White, the reason I call you Safety Scissors is because you're with the Scissor Bang Bang Club and you're dull and boring. I mean, your character has been diluted. And it's really not your fault. It's the way Tony Khan has been allowed to present you. At least they got to see Thunder Rosa. Ooh, okay.
At this point, whoop-de-doo.
I know. I'm sorry. I love Thunder Rosa. I think Thunder Rosa is amazing talent. I wish she was in WWE because I think she'd be better off. But I'm like, in AEW, it's kind of like whoop-de-doo. Like they bring her in when people get pissed off. Like we want when the crowd chants, we want Thunder Rosa, and Tony's like, okay, here we go. But otherwise, she's not important.
But they don't really do much with her since she's returned.
No.
And that's my biggest disappointment. I was a major proponent, a major fan of Thunder Rosa her first run. And then she got hurt, and since she's been back, it's like, why do I care? They don't invest in her.
And Britt Baker's kind of been gone for so long, even if she's injured or not injured. We don't know the storyline there. Even if she comes back, I don't know if she's going to be able... She might get the pop for a little bit, but I don't feel she's going to be important. Jamie Hayter, I don't know what you're going to feel there. And even I think people are getting bored with Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo, and they're supposed to have this big title match at the Revolution pay-per-view, and people are just kind of... I know there's a lot of people praise Toni. I know a lot of people praise Toni Storm like this is the greatest story, woman's development and character. Toni Storm thing is amazing. I'm just kind of like, I don't get it anymore. It's just...
Miguel.
Well, yeah, we know Miguel will be... Mr. C will be in the corner crying as those days go by, as we see Okada become a... I guess Okada will be what? Wrestling... I don't know. Okay, maybe Okada will be facing Jeff Jarrett. That'll probably be where he'll wind up.
So we're going to get the Rainmaker turned into the Monopoly Maker? Monopoly Money?
The Rainmaker into a calm breeze. He'll be right under dollar because he'll be the change maker.
Ooh. Oof. He's already been on AEW TV. He's already been on AEW programming, and they never presented him right. No. What is Okada coming to AEW as?
Dude, Okada's going to lose his biggest thing, and that's his entrance. Because Tony Khan doesn't present an entrance for anybody, really, unless it's Omega. Omega and the Bucks kind of get those big moments, but other than that, who else really gets a big entrance in AEW? House of Black, kinda, but House of Black is dead.
Again, we've been talking about their creative for what feels like years.
But speaking of Dollar Boy, AJ Francis, did you see TNA? Did you see the new Joe Henry video making fun of Francis, where he used AJ Styles' TNA music to make his song that he doesn't get to dive no more. He's banned from diving. That was a great video, Joe Henry, because AJ Francis made a rap video about Joe Henry, and Joe Henry's like, oh, okay, well, it would be a shock if I had a comeback video, and so it was AJ. Since AJ Francis, they used AJ Styles as phenomenal music from his TNA days, and Joe Henry made a song where you are banned from diving about AJ Francis because he doesn't know how to dive over a top rope, which will probably haunt him for a long time to go. We've talked about everything.
It looks like it because they're definitely leaning on it.
So Sunday, folks, if you want to hear my 2 cents. You only have 2 cents to give? I thought you'd have a whole lot more to give than 2 cents. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more, be back here Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we'll have our weekly roundup, where we're going to talk about everything that went down this week in professional wrestling. Minus, I don't know, we may talk about just outline of the craziness, because I'm kind of agitated and pissed off about some of that. Ashley Mazzaro's story as a veteran of the Army. It just aggravates me. That's a whole different story. So we'll cover that maybe slightly a little bit. We're not going to get in deep in it. I know it's pointing a lot of fingers. It's all allegations. It's sad that this stuff has to keep creeping up and kind of showing its light. So it needs to be taken seriously and dealt with. And everybody responsible needs to be found and held accountable for their actions if these allegations are fully true. And sadly, they may be. And that's a whole different thing that I don't want to get in right now. But there's that. We still have to talk about what's coming up with Elimination Chamber. We got to talk about everything else going on in this week. Lots of good stuff. The end, we know that, I know Mr. Z gets to talk about Okada's contract being done and Tama Tonga looking like he's done with New Japan Pro Wrestling finally. A lot of stuff to get into, and we'll be here Sunday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 3-man team will be here to discuss all that, get into the adeptness of all that. And, of course, then we'll be back Monday with your Raw review. Wednesday for your Dynamite show. And then, of course, next Friday we'll be back here for SmackDown. And then next week it's going to be interesting. We're going to watch the Elimination Chamber. Me and Mr. Z are going to be at Stockton Con in Stockton, California. We're going to be live there on Saturday. Make sure you come out on Saturday. We're going to be giving out stickers. Join us out there, and we'll have some fun. We know Trish Stratus is going to be there. Lita's going to be there. Hacksaw Jim Duggan. All going to be there. So maybe we'll get a shout out from one of these people. We'll have to wait and see once we get there. So join us for that. Then next weekend's going to kind of be iffy. A lot of stuff going on. I don't know where shows will fall yet. We will discuss that next weekend, not this coming weekend. Everything's still on for this week. So, Mr. Clarke, any final closing thoughts? Yes, Tuesday is your New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound each and every week. Tune in to Tuesdays. Mr. Z brings you everything New Japan Pro Wrestling related. Even if it's him crying about Okada and Will Ospreay going to AEW and too bad booking.
So Thursday we dropped an episode called Week in Preview, where we previewed from Thursday's TNA Impact throughout every major American show through Wednesday of the coming week. We'll be dropping another episode this coming Thursday, just to talk about, hey, this is what we're going to try to get excited about for the week in wrestling.
Yep. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value Wrestling. That is Mr. Paulus Clarke. I'm the big time. This has been your SmackDown review, post-show review, whatever you want to call it, for February 16th. We appreciate it for being here. We thank you for joining us. If you're watching this later, we appreciate it. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Let's get this video liked. The more likes we get, the more it gets out in the algorithm. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. We are trying to move forward. We're really close to getting to 250, which is awesome. We're almost halfway to 500, which is an awesome step. We need to get there. And then to the big one is 1,000. That is our ultimate goal, because once we get to 1,000, we get to start opening some brand new doors. And, of course, we still have Mr. Clarke, who's going to do a dance video for you once we hit 1,000. So that's going to be exciting. He's going to do his own Prince Nana dance. So be ready for that right here on the Value of Wrestling once we hit 1,000. So, you want to see it. Help us get there and make that happen. But until the next one, we're going to get out of here. We're going to say bye-bye. We're going to say la-di-da-di, ade-ade, deuces.